As architects, engineers, or interior designers, we use elevation to communicate a specific information about the building. In ArchiCAD, this information is extracted from the model and displayed in different formats. In this video, you will know how to make or draw building elevation from this floor plan with all information that is necessary to complete a successful elevation drawing in ArchiCAD. Before any further ado, let's get started. This is the floor plan that we're going to extract information for our elevation. So if you zoom out, there are already elevations markers or elevation reference markers on the floor plan that comes with a default ArchiCAD template, as you can see them here. But this is the elevation that we're going to focus on. So if you zoom in here, let's select it and then click on this point and activate drag in your keyboard. Let's move it closer to the drawing, just like so here. Perfect. And then if you zoom in here, this is that by default ArchiCAD comes with the settings for the marker or for the symbol of the elevation, but this is subject to change. You can customize it to your own needs. So to achieve that, you can open its elevation, its settings, for example, and then let's close this. If you go to the marker area and then the marker text style, you can also customize the marker symbol. For example, let's open this part and the marker style can be something you want. I like it more like traditional, like these ones. So yeah, and then here under marker, you can also change the size of your marker and the pen color. So depending on your standards, your office standards, or your individual, if you're a solo practitioner, sorry. Let's hit OK. For the sake of this demonstration, I will leave it as it is because we're just focusing on the elevation itself. So let's open this elevation. To open it, you can either go to the view map or under the project map and then open it. Like for example, this is the south elevation auto, or you can select this and right click and open with current view settings. It will open the elevation. There we go here, and as you can see, by default it will bring you this default settings of this template that comes with your ArchiCAD. So what I'll do here, the first thing that we need to set up is the secondary information like the story levels and the others. So to start with, let's select this line to reduce the distance between the story text and the drawing. Place it here to reduce that. Let's zoom in a bit, and we want to set up some few items here. I don't want to see the storyline going across the elevation, and I don't want to have it both sides. So I just want to make it one on the one side. And then the other thing is the distance between the place holder, which is the name and the height of the story, and this line. So you cannot change it by just reducing the distance, whereas you can change it on the settings. So to achieve that, let's right click on the elevation on the view map or on the project map. Right click on it, then open the elevation settings. From here, what we want to focus on is under the story levels. So if you go to story levels and symbol and text, let's open that section, and then this is the first page of the parameter settings for the text. Here we have the settings for the story name placeholders. As you can see, it's around 2.7, which is this distance between here to there is 2.7. So let's bring it down maybe to 1 meter. To check results, let's hit OK. There we go. Now we've shortened up this distance, of which is fine. You can also, if you look at closer here, let's zoom in here. There are different types, there are different lines. There's line from here to here, and then there's line from here to there, and there's the overhang. let's try to access the settings for this. Go back again to the elevation view, then right click to open the elevation settings. There we go. Under the same parameters, the story marker geometry, we have the left overhang, which is the inside of the, let me just move it here so that you can see. There are two overhangs. This is the left overhang, and then we have the right overhang. So here, this is the parameter for the left overhang, and then this is the parameter for the right overhang. So if I change this to 100 and then change also this to 50, let's check the result. Hit OK and check the result. There we go. Now we have shortened this information the way we want. So another item that we can access on this settings, let's go back again. Under the same story marker geometry, you can open another page for that. This is the page where you can override the text alignment, and which is here. You can either have it inside or outside, as you can see. So if you click here and check the result, there we go. But I will leave it the way it is. Let's go back to elevation settings again. I think let me leave it from the outside. And then here, these are the parameters for all the information. The story index text, which is this the numerical value, which is 0, 1, and 2. These are the story index text. We can decide to take them out so that we can just leave a plain story set just like this. You right click and go back again and see other settings. I'm just going to give you the basic settings of how you want to customize your elevations. So we have also the story name text. You can also customize this according to what you want. For example, say custom, and then I'll call every story with a prefix of height. So let me just say height, or name it that way. And then if you click on it, so it will give all of this height. Let's go back again and open the elevation settings. So in this case, I will restrict it to be automatic so that you can extract this information from the story settings instead of custom. So by so doing, if you make it automatic, once you add another story, it will automatically capture this information on elevation story heights, of which that's the advice that I'll give you. Just leave it at automatic so that you can make your life easier. And then we have the story name or story elevation text, of which if you click on it or switch it off, it will get rid of the information, the heights. So let's go back and right click on the elevation view to open the elevation settings again, and let's bring it back. You can either make it custom as well, don't forget to do that. And then we have an option, to show the plus symbol or plus minus symbol. You can either have it off depending on what you want. So I think with that regard, we are fine for that. Let's just leave it the way it is. Another aspect that I want you to understand is the height of this thing. For example, you have this height and this. I'll take advantage of having them because by default they come with ArchiCAD. I just reduced the height of this the last story to represent the height of the building. To achieve this, let's right click on the stories here, right click on one of the stories to open the story settings, or just hit Ctrl 7 in your keyboard. In this case here, I just measured, for example, let me just go back before I just measured the distance between this story and the height of the building, because let me just right click and go back to the story settings. Let's say by default it will come like this, as the difference of it will be 3 meters. just like this. It will be 3 meters across. If you add another story, it will be again, but to reduce that to represent the height, the total height of the building, which is the apex, you need to measure this distance by clicking M in your keyboard. To click M in your keyboard, or you go to edit. Where is it measure on edit? Oh, yeah, I think give me the option, guys. Go to the comment section and can you share with others how to measure. But I just need that tool. I just click on M on the keyboard. Just hit M on the keyboard to activate the cursor with more like a ruler or a measuring tape. So from here I'll measure this distance from the second story or the first story going up. So to restrict your measuring to be vertical or horizontal, you hold shift in your keyboard so that you restrict it, and you can reference to that. The distance is 1.903 meters. So what I'll do, I need to set this to that. Let's right click on one of the story or hit Ctrl+7 to open the story settings. So what I will say, I want the distance between these two story to be 1.904. That will add up the value for the total height of the building, which is 4.9. And then hit OK. There we go. Now we have this representing the apex of the building, but also the name of the story has to define what the level is about. So to achieve that, also let's go back to the story settings, or just hit Ctrl+7 like I said. And then what we're going to do, this one, it will represent the first story, to represent the wall plate. So I will say wall plate level. Let me make this caps lock, and then this will be apex or building height. And then this, I would want it to be finished floor level or FFL, and then hit OK. This information will change, and you can move it there like so to make a bit of space between the drawing and the text. There we go. Now we have all this set. Like I said, I don't want to see the story level lines going across. So what I'll do, and then I'll get rid of the other side. What I'll do, let's zoom in and go to the elevations view, right click, let's open the elevation settings. So what I'll do, under the marker symbol and text, let's go back here. Under the story level, sorry about that, guys. And you can either change the line type, but I don't want to change it because I'm going to get rid of it. So I'll get rid of the story level marker on the left side, and then I'll get rid of the story level lines that goes across the drawing, then to remain with just this on the right side. And then I have an option to change its pens and the marker pen as well. So I can hit OK. There we go. Now it's being restricted on this side. I can have an overhang here that would at least be next to the drawing. Let's go back, right click on the elevation to open the elevation settings. In this here, remember, we go back to the story levels and symbol and text to set up this is the left overhang that we want to do. Let me say, let's make it 300. Oh, it went the other direction. Let's go back, elevation settings. Let me change this to 300. No, let's go for 500. This will be 100. There we go. I think it's much better. I can now click on this line and then bring it closer to the drawing like that. Perfect. This is great. This is great. Or I can have a line that goes across and then ends somewhere here. So to achieve that, let's go back to the elevation view and right click to open the elevation settings. In this case, we're going to the story levels section and we're going to activate the storyline. Let's set the line type to something like dash tripled and change the I think we can leave the line type line pen to this for the sake of the demonstration, and then hit OK. There we go. And to restrict it to be somewhere there, we drag this line as well and then put it here. Perfect. Another item that we have to fix is the ground level, or the reference line for the ground. In this case, because it's a model, remember it's a mesh, we need to have one line to represent the ground. So to achieve this, let's select the mesh, and under the info box, let's find structure, and then change the structure to the line, only line, like so. There we go. We now have a nice clean line for the ground level. So that is perfect. Another item that we are going to focus here is the drawing itself, the drawing graphics itself. So if you look at things that we want to change, in other standards, some want to have a uniform pen across the whole elevation. Some would want to add a bit of shadows to add depth to their representation. Sorry, and then you don't want to see things that are in the internal to be reflecting on the openings like this. I can see this is transparent. So to achieve that, you go back to the elevation view, then you right click to open again the elevation settings. This time around, we are going to focus on the model appearance section. If we click on it, we have two different elements here in the model appearance. We have the cut elements and then the uncut elements. The uncut elements represent the elevation, of which this is where you are going to focus. The cut elements are for sections. So let's start with the top parameter for the uncut elements, which is for the elevation. So the uncut fill, we are saying you can go for nothing. So if you say nothing, let's check the result. Hit OK. Your drawing will be just simple and clean. Do you get what I'm trying to do here? And then let's now deal with this situation for the transparency of the door. So go back and right click, then open the elevation settings. What we're going to do here is to turn off the transparency, which is this. And make sure you remove that, hit OK. There we go. We have now a nice clean drawing. What if you want to add shadows? What if you want to have one line weight for the elevation? Let's go back and open the elevation settings. What we are going to do here, let's say this time around we are going to go back to uncut fill, and then we are going to use the uniform pen color and non-shaded. So we're going to also check under uniform uncut pens. We're going to make them uniform. Then we select the color that we want, or the pen weight that we want to make uniform for the lines. Let's hit OK to check the results. There we go. We have now uniform black drawing, depending on your standards. So what if now you want to add a shadow? Let's go back and right click on the elevation view to open the elevation settings. We're going to go scroll down here a bit. There is shadow parameter. click on it, and then it will give you other settings for the shadow. So we have the shadow fill. Under the shadow fill, let's choose the shadow that we want. For example, if we go with the common brick by default, this is how it will be like. Maybe it's your standard, you get. So I've seen a lot of vectorial hatching for the architectural drawings like this, but this is not what I want. So go back and right click on the elevation view to open the elevation settings. In this here, we're going to change this to be the shadow fill to be something 75% solid fill, and then we change the pen to, or the color to, a black, then we make it that way. So let's hit OK to check the results. There we go. We have now a solid fill that has a transparency on it, or the opacity on it, and we feel it's too much. We want to have it nice and well defined. Instead of that, let's go back and adjust that. Let's say we are going to, as it is now, it's dependent, the angle of the altitude is dependent on the custom. So if we say 30 degrees for both altitude and the azimuth, and then hit OK to check the result. It will be nice and like that, and you can make it perfect if you want, according to your standard. Let's say instead of 30, go for 25, or just go for 18. Let's go for 18, and then I will set the fill to 50% instead of 75. Let's check. It's much better. It's much better, but I would want the shadows to be at an angle. So let's right click and open the elevation settings. So it's more like a trial and error for you to achieve a desired result. There's no a perfect settings for this. It will depend on the orientation, site orientation of your project. So let me say this, I'll say 10, and then this will be 30. Let's check. There we go. I think this is very nice. That's what I want. Yeah, this is what I want. And if you want to achieve something like this, is a 2D information that I've added just to add or to reference the scaling of, or the proportion of the elements here. You can also use this type of thing to add features like trees and all. Let's open the design tool palettes and object tool. Let's open its settings, and we can search 2D people, or let's say 2D trees, and then I'll go with this one. Under its settings, I'll choose, let me just go for this, and then I can go for a winter type, symbol type, and the view type, it should be on the front view, symbolic side view. Let's find the perfect. I think these ones are perfect. I'll go with something simple, just the contours. I think let me go for this. And then the contour pen, I'll choose the pen 1, and the fill background pen, I'll make it transparent. Then the fill type, let's make it 50%. 50%. Let's choose the black pair and hit OK. Let's place it somewhere here and select it and go scroll down or scroll in your mouse wheel to change the angle in the info box to 0, something like that. You can also change the scaling. To scale it or change the size, make sure under the size the size change is active so that you can change one parameter and then automatically change the other. So I'll reduce this to maybe 4,000. If we click here to change, yeah, I think it's perfect. One thing that I want to define, I want to have the control pen to be black, and then just to define this brilliantly. So let's go back, open its settings. Let's say the control pen is that. I think the reason why here they are fine, the settings. The reason why it's not reflecting to this is because under the floor plan section, if we go there, let's see, you see now the symbol is being overridden for both line types and pen. So let's uncheck this. Now it's perfect. And again, we can make it stay at the back, right click, select it and right click to display order, then send it back. We didn't want to go it back, I think. Didn't want to go it back. Let's do it again. Right click, display order and send it back. There we go. There we go. It looks much, you can, for you, I know you can spend time. I'm just showing the options of how you can achieve a better elevation presentations. So you can spend your time and try to achieve the presentation style you want. So yeah, bear with me with that. Maybe my taste is very poor or it's not your taste. So yeah, when it comes to annotation, so there are different ways of doing annotation, but I'm going to share with you the basic one. If you are new to ArchiCAD and or if you are a beginner, you want to start basic. You want to start from the foundation. Because ArchiCAD is the BIM software, so you can now utilize that to extract information from the model and display it. But in this case, I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to show you some basic level to achieve better presentation for your elevation communication. So to annotate this, for example, let's start with the roof. So I'll use the label tool to do that. So let's go to the the document tools. Click on the document tools. We're going to use a label tool to do that. So I'll click on the label tool. If you open its settings, under its settings, there are different types of the different types of labeling here. I've covered them both or all of majority of them in previous video. I'll put the link in the description for those videos to go see. For this, we're going to go with the text or auto text label. So I'm just going to set it. Let's say we're going to be consistent with the color of the secondary information, which is text, which I will just replicate what I'm seeing here on the story text. So keep this pen, go down to the pointer section and activate the pointer. The line will be solid again, and then I'll change this to 86 to be consistent, like I said. Same applies to this. That's the pointer, and then I'll change the arrowhead to something like that. I think the arrowhead, I'll make it black, solid black. Let's go for something thick, just like that, and then I'll hit OK. Let's click the object, zoom in. If you hover your cursor, you should it should snap the object, the element, to place a label. There we go. Click on it. It will place a label. So by now there's nothing to display here. So if I have a specification for this roof finish, like for example, I use you can use the other platform where you can extract this information. I have this that I want to use. I'll just copy maybe the technical information, the specification for that, because these are the manufacturer. Then copy, go back, then double click on the label and paste the information. There we go. So now to format this text, as you can see, let's select it and open its settings. What you want to do, you want to go to the text style to wrap the text. If you wrap text, check the result. You can now click on this point to activate the stretch on your pad palette. Then you can stretch your text like that. Zoom in. Let's make the text uniform height, so it will be 2, and then move it to the position. I'll click on the label so that these points, they can be active. It will allow me to click in one of the points and activate the move node in your pad palette, so that I can just stretch it like that, or give it there. So I would want it to be in line with this, like so, and I can still stretch it a bit like so. You can play around with the label geometry. So if you open the settings, let's say go back to the pointer, you can use the straight pointer or the inverted pointer. This is the curve pointer that is cut at the moment. So let's click on that one and say that. And also, if you go back, you can set the angle of which you want it to be. Let's say 70. That's perfect. That's perfect. Let's do the same to the wall. I have let's go back to the internet. I have the specification for this wall. This is the spec that I want. Copy it, go back to your project, and then I'm gonna, because I have already set this, I want to reuse the settings. So what I'll do, I'll click or pick the parameter here by using this at the top there, and then pick it, and then click on the element to pick parameter. So from here it's active, the label is active. I can go and select the element to place a label. There we go. And then let's select it, click on the point to move there, move it again. I'll shift to restrict it horizontal to align it with the other text, and then I'll double click on the text and right click to select all text. Let's paste the specification and click outside to complete. Let's now zoom out to click on this point. Let's pick the stretch to stretch it that way. Perfect. There we go. I can also adjust the angle of the geometry for the label. Let's say 70%. I think 70 is too much. I can make it, let me close. I can make it 0. yeah, I can make it 0 because it's straight. Let's go back and make it 0. There we go. Let me move it by the drag command. Move it somewhere here with a space. Perfect. So far so good. I'm impressed with everything. If you want also to place elements like label, or place annotation like to label doors and windows in your elevation, for example, you can also use the same label or set up a new label for that specific task. For example, let's go back to the label tool and open its settings. This time around, let's go for something different. Let's scroll down here. I think the property label will do for this. What I want us to do is, under the text style, make sure the frame parameter is active, because if it's not active, under the symbol label custom settings and in this frame shape, you cannot access this information. For example, let's go back and deactivate that. Let's go back under symbol label custom settings. You see it's grayed out because the frame is not activated. So go back to text style to activate the frame, and then go back here to choose the label you want to, the geometry for the label you want to use. So I'll go for something like this. And then I don't want to see the leader line to that, and the frame distance from the element will be 0. So I'll fit frame to text, because I know this, I'm certain with the text height, so the frame has to adjust and accommodate the height of the text. So, and then yeah, that's it. So we go back here, under general settings, arrangement of the content is for example, in column, there's only one column we want. We can set multiple columns, but for this we want just one column for the ID of the element. So if you click OK, let's hover above the element, click, there we go, we have this. So I don't know why it's long like that, but let's go back to the elevation, to the settings, and under the text box width, let's uncheck this and fit frame to text. Oh, sorry. Let's say the frame width, which is the length. So I'm going to change this to maybe 10 and check the result. Alright, it doesn't work. So I'll start first by aligning this to the center first. Yes, like that. So that I can see now where to troubleshoot this. Let's go back to its settings. Under here, the text box width, let's reduce it to maybe 10. Right? Okay, there we go. Go back. I think we can maybe bring it to 5. Perfect. If you feel this shape it doesn't do you justice, you can change it. For example, let me go for something like circle, and then change the text box width to 4. Okay, I can just do 2, 3, or also change the text height to 1.5. There we go. I think it's perfect. Perfect. I'm impressed with the result. In other standards, you can also place the background, of which, if you want that tutorial, you can also place the background and do other settings, maybe the clouding and all the like. Or you can play around with the edge or the fill. So for example, let's say fill, and I'll go to the fill settings, then choose the fill that you would want to use. Let's scroll here. If we have something, you can set up a fill for the background. In this case, let me just use this for the sake of this demonstration. And then you draw your fill like that, or you can even go this area, and then you select it, right click to send it back under the display order. Send it back again because the trees is still in front. Right click and send it back again. It doesn't change. Let's bring this, or instead of having this transparent, let's select it and go to its settings, make it under fill background pen, make it screen, make it solid so that it becomes this. Perfect. I think you can also stretch this, select the edge of the fill to activate the offset edge and offset this edge to there. I think I'm impressed. Thank you guys for tuning in for this. If you want in-depth, if you want me to continue with this or take this to the next level, let me know in the comment section and I would respond to every comment that will come in. So thank you once again. If you want to further your information as well, we have courses that are currently running. I'll put the description, the link in the description. And if you also want this file, this project file, it's also in the link, or the link is also in the description. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Keep supporting our work, and we'll try our best, guys, to improve in our delivery for the learning of ArchiCAD. Thank you.